I'm Fox. I'm a non-binary trans person. Non-binary trans people are those who don't identify as men or women.
I'm Owl, and I'm a non-binary trans activist and writer, originally from Iceland. Nothing about our reality is ever simple, and certainly not gender.
Every single day we face some form of abuse, and we have to defend our right to exist. We get compared to animals or objects, and our identity becomes a debate.
But to us, this is so much more than just a debate. This is our lives. We just want to be ourselves and not constantly justify our very being.
It doesn't cause harm to anyone else. It doesn't cost you anything to respect us.
But at the moment, the debate is costing so many of us our lives.
We're one of the lucky ones because we're still here.
Non-binary people are beautiful, diverse, and we aren't just a phase made up or a fad.
We exist, we're real, and we deserve to live our lives authentically, without judgment.
My name is Juno, and I identify as she, her, and they increasingly. When I see those kind of headlines and the attacks on us, it makes me feel really sad. It makes me feel powerless. And I think that if I, as a kind of a fairly well-known writer and campaigner, feel powerless, how does somebody who's just starting their journey feel? In that sense, it would be really useful to have more allies around from different sectors, not just, the LGBT sector, but, from healthcare and from schools and education. I'm not interested in proving to somebody if I'm a woman or a man. I'm interested in people hearing me and being believed. Everybody else has that luxury. And actually it's not a luxury, it's just a human right. Self-identification is what every living, breathing human does. But trans people are told that we're incapable of doing it. We don't know our own minds, but those days have gone. We do, and we're here, and we should be able to self-identify.
I'm Lewis, I'm transgender, I identify as male. I didn't have any trans role models growing up, and if I had, I would have transitioned a lot sooner and it would have made my life a hell of a lot easier. I wouldn't have had to go through the wrong puberty. My friends and family had no idea what being trans was, but they supported me throughout, and it shouldn't be lucky to have the people you love support you. I personally probably wouldn't be here today without that support. We're only on this planet for such a short space of time, and we just want to live as our authentic selves, just like anybody else. I worry for people that are trans and haven't come out yet, because all the negative press can make them think that they're setting themselves up for such a hard life. It can scare people off from coming out or taking those steps to finally being happy. I think we need more positive role models out there to say that you can transition and be happy, successful, live a great life.
My name's Jane Rowlands. I identify as female, but I don't necessarily see that as a black and white thing. Young people generally aren't seeing gender in black and white terms anymore, and it's really exciting, but there is a pushback, as there are to a lot of minority issues, and a big part of that is due to the media culture that we live in. I was going to the supermarket the other day, and 2 tabloid newspapers had different anti-trans stories on their front pages, and it just blew my mind. In 2017, I'm just going down to do my Sunday shop. They're talking about people like me. 29 years of my life, I was in a job that I hated. I was severely depressed. And since I made these changes in my life, I'm doing the career that I always dreamed of doing it. And I've got amazing people and genuine people in my life. This is why we need the authentic voices and the authentic stories out there, and just realise these are just people trying to live life the best they can, like we all do, and we all deserve that.
I'm Kate, and I'm a trans woman. Been a doctor since 1999, and for a lot of that time I didn't want to talk about being trans. It was fear, it was shame really, I think. When I transitioned back in the 1990s, there wasn't really very many positive role models out there, and actually what we had was a lot of negative feedback from the media of the time. The hatred that is often apparent when people stick their necks over the parapet to say, hey, here I am, I'm trans, I'm proud of being trans. It worries me, it upsets me, it makes me angry. At the end of the day, we're human beings. We have a right to be the people that we are. The recognition of us as trans and non-binary people is something that comes from us. It's not something that's decided by somebody else based on a list of criteria that we have to meet or a set of hurdles that we have to jump through. We're the ones that make that first step. We're the ones who are telling other people that's who we are.
My name is Loretta. I am a trans woman and I'm 19 years old. It's really important for people to be supporting members of the trans community. Quite often a lot of us get a lot of hate and verbal abuse from people on a day-to-day basis. A lot of media reports these things as though it's not something that's necessary, but blockers and hormones is so important to somebody's mental health and their mental state. People need to think for themselves a little bit more and read into these articles and see that they're not backed up by facts. It really just trivialises and makes us seem as though something that we want to be as opposed to something that we are. If you are somebody who always has had the luxury of being comfortable within yourself, please do not deny that to other people.
I'm Rosh and I'm 29. I'm a student mental health nurse. Studies say up to like half of trans people have tried to commit suicide because of rejection, because of discrimination, because of us not being accepted for who we are. Think about how you would feel if you woke up and all of a sudden everybody was referring to you by the wrong gender, and how wrong that would feel to you because you know that that's not who you are. And think about that discomfort, because that's what we experience. And I think the only way that people can really understand that is if they do try by empathising and realising how awful it is to be told that you're something that you know you're not.